I am a mechanical engineer. I have in fact done my MBA also
Mhm.
from Sydenham, Bombay,
Okay.
and I have nearly 10 years of work experience.
Okay.
I am a finance enthusiast. I just love finance, reading about finance, and I'm also a qualified CFA charter holder and an FRM charter holder. Today, when I'm done with the GMAT, if someone asks me what is one thing that you're gonna miss, I am gonna miss listening to Payal's voice because that has just come. She would tell that you need to follow the process,
Yeah.
read the sentence, understand the meaning, the meaning-based approach that she taught.
Now, we'll introduce a new segment to this interview. Okay, that is a rapid fire segment wherein I'll be asking you a few questions. Okay, based on your GMAT journey. If you had to suggest a title that sums up your GMAT journey, what would it be? Welcome to another debrief session of e-GMAT, and today we have with us Parikshit Sakya, and he has scored a great score in the GMAT exam in the current week. He has scored a 730 with a Q49 and a V41, which is equivalent to almost 93rd percentile on the verbal. So we welcome Parikshit on this debriefing session and congratulate him on his success. So congratulations, Parikshit, and how are you feeling today?
Thank you, Akash. I think it's a relief, a big relief. Looking forward to a good score for quite some time now.
Yeah.
I think I put in a lot of effort for this. And yeah, so when you put in a lot of effort and finally you see the results, you obviously feel happy about it.
Yes, perfect. Yes. So, because I have been mentoring you from a long time and have been seeing your journey from close eyes, actually. And there was no one more happier than me when I got that email about your success, actually. So, what was your feeling when you actually saw that score on the screen?
I think moment I clicked the final submit button right for the essay question and then the score popped up. The first thing that came up was the verbal score, and I was very happy with my verbal score.
Yeah.
And just below it was my quant score, and I scored just Q49, and I definitely believe that my ability was a bit more in verbal.
Okay.
Sorry, a bit more in quants, and I could have done a bit better. So I was a bit disappointed, but then overall the score was okay. So I think I was happy. I was excited, and then it was just that this needs to get done now as early as I can, so that I can just get up from my seat and
Mhm.
tell the good news to everyone.
Right. No, definitely. It's been a great journey, and I'm glad that we came up on the other side in a more successful manner. But before we actually get on to your study plans and let the viewers know about your journey, why don't you just discuss a little bit about your background? Like, they would love to know about you as well.
Sure. So I am a mechanical engineer. I have in fact done my MBA also
Mhm.
from Sydenham, Bombay,
Okay.
and I have nearly 10 years of work experience.
Okay.
I am a finance enthusiast. So, I just love finance, reading about finance, and I'm also a qualified CFA charter holder and an FRM charter holder.
Oh,
Have
okay.
been in the consulting business in BFS sector for over 10 years now.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's a very brief about me.
Okay. So, then why again a GMAT exam? So are you looking for a double MBA? Oh,
Yes, I think finance is something which keeps me awake, and I can just keep reading about finance, right?
mhm.
And whenever I get some free time, I listen to some of the lectures, let's say Ashwat Damodar and some in NYU, right? And
Mhm.
I have always wondered and thought that if I can sit in a class where the best finance gurus teach me, I think it is with this thought in mind, right? I think
Right.
I thought that I should write the GMAT, and this is where the GMAT story began.
Wow, that's actually quite inspiring to know all of these things because learning never stops in life, and you are a living example of that. So, when did the first thought of the GMAT exam came into your mind?
So I completed my CFA and then I was done with my FRM. So these are considered to be the toughest finance courses in the
Mhm.
world. And once I was done with that, I was like, what can I do next in finance? And then I always thought that something I always wanted to do is learn from the best finance minds, maybe some of the best economists of the world.
Mhm.
Someone, let's say, sitting in Columbia Business School, or maybe someone sitting in the London Business School. And I think it is there, right? Learning from the best. That is where the ignite. I think that was the trigger factor that
Mhm.
ignited. And then I was like, what can I do for this? And then I thought that let's try the GMAT. I know that I had more than average work experience.
Mhm.
what the average crowd over there in the colleges there, right, have. But then I thought it shouldn't be a problem. Let me give it a try. And now that I have got a score, I will definitely try to apply for some of these colleges where my best or my favorite finance mentors are there, and
Yeah,
hopefully maybe sit in one of those classrooms someday.
definitely, you will. You will definitely. Thank you, Parikshit, for that. So, the main thing for any GMAT aspirant is to choose the resources from where they want to prepare. Okay, some do self-study, some go to a private tutor, some go for an online test preparation company. So, how did you choose e-GMAT to be your test preparation provider?
Okay. So I think initially when I decided to do the GMAT, right, I decided to prepare for the GMAT. I was very confused, to be honest, with the plethora of options that a candidate gets. You type the best GMAT institute in Google and you'll have a lot of answers. So I definitely read about e-GMAT and a lot of reviews about e-GMAT. But
Mhm.
then unless you experience it yourself, right, you
Right.
don't know. It's difficult to believe. There is always a sense of disbelief because you always have good and bad reviews.
Yeah.
I think it is here where I went to the e-GMAT YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
and I actually went through, I think, almost all of your free videos, and I was looking more of a prepare from an institute. My expectation was it would help me in my verbal preparation
Yeah.
because once I knew more or less, I would be able to do it.
Mhm.
So verbal, I think it is just brilliant. I cannot think that you have even a single area of improvement. It is so good, and I didn't have even an iota of doubt, right, after going through your YouTube channels and compared to the other competitors which are available, that e-GMAT is going to be my choice, and I'm so glad that I made the choice.
No, you were also one of our most diligent students ever, right? Because I have been mentoring you, as I said, from my close eyes. Whenever I gave you a study plan, it was done immediately. No doubts or no questions being asked. Whatever we said, you did it as per the plans, and we have the result in front of us as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think I just trusted you, not only on what you said I mean, the preparation plan, right? Even the examination dates, the
Yeah.
times that you told me, everything I just had to follow. I just said that I'm just going to follow an expert, and it was you in my case. And I'm so glad. I'm sure that this would not have been possible without your help as well, because right, there are so many minute points. Even deciding the time, even deciding when should I take the GMAT, even deciding the fact that am I even ready at this point of time. I think all these questions you answered for me, and I just had to follow it. It was very simple for me.
Yes. I remember it was in the month of March this year that you reached out to us for helping you in the GMAT examination, and wherein I was assigned as a mentor to you. And your first attempt was in August, or like the last week of August, wherein you scored 640, okay, with a Q49 and a V28. Okay. So I know that verbal score over there was not a correct representation. Definitely, it was a very bad day in terms of test taking, and we'll definitely come to that as well, what happened on that day. But I want you to discuss what we did from March to August in order to reach you. I know we didn't get the results in the first attempt, but how we prepared in this journey. So let's start off with verbal. Okay, so what exactly were you doing earlier, or what we did in verbal? Let's start off with SC then.
Sure. So I remember it was March 27 that I reached out to you first.
Okay.
And the first email that I wrote, I said that I want to write the GMAT in the next 45 days. Can I please have a mentor? Because I thought that I am done with my course. And I remember our first meeting that I had with you, right? You made me realize that I have not followed the process, and I keep repeating, right? In e-GMAT,
Mhm.
it's a process that you need to follow and trust the magic of the process. Everything falls in place. I have not done the hard cementing. When I say cementing, these are application quizzes. I did not take the hard cementing quizzes. And then you made me realize that there is a lot to cover. I
Yeah.
remember that when I was preparing myself before I got in touch with you, I took up all the sections simultaneously.
Okay.
I did verbal, and then I used to get bored after 2 hours. Maybe I go to quants, and then I just used to jump over it. And
Yeah.
then I remember asking you this question that is this the way I need to study? And you told me, no, you should take up one subsection at a time,
Yeah.
finish it, and only go to the next subsection. I
Mhm.
started with SC, and that was my weakest area, right?
Mhm.
When I started the course, When you listen to me, right, I think I speak not very bad. People can understand, but the problem is when I read long sentences,
Mm-hmm.
I was unable to even identify the verb in the sentence, which is a very basic requirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the course is so well structured. The master comprehension course, right, which is there at the start, teaches you how to read a sentence, the building blocks of a sentence, how to take a pause, as the strategic pausing, as Payal calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going through Payal's videos so many times in SC that today, when I'm done with the GMAT, if someone asks me, what is one thing that you're going to miss? I am going to miss listening to Payal's voice, because that has just come. She would tell that we need to follow the process,
Yeah.
read the sentence, understand the meaning, the meaning based approach that she taught. And today, I think even beyond the GMAT, when I read a newspaper, I read a novel, or I read a WhatsApp message, I look for those grammar, small verbs. And this is something I think the entire credit goes to the amazing team, right, that you
Yes.
have at e-GMAT. That I think it took a long time for me. It took
Mm-hmm.
a really long time, because I remember having gone back to you and said that I'm unable to clear the hard application quizzes, and should I move to the next section now, because it's been quite some time. And you responded back saying that that's not the best thing to do. You need to complete hard cementing. You need to develop that ability. And I gave a lot of tests, I think,
Yeah.
but initially the mistake that I was making in SC was the sound,
Mm-hmm.
right? It sounds wrong. I think that's something so many of us do, but that simply doesn't work in the GMAT. Sound, if you just rely on is it sounding wrong? And if you read
Mm-hmm.
a lot of GMAT blogs also, right, they eliminate options based on it sounds wrong, but this simply doesn't work in a hard application quiz. I went back to the basics, learned it again, and
Mm-hmm.
today, I think not only from a GMAT perspective, I feel as a
Mm-hmm.
human being also, right, who reads English day in and day out, I think I'm
Yeah.
able to understand grammar very well. I've never learned grammar so well in my life.
Yeah, that's so wonderful to hear all of that actually, because I do remember that since you were also one of the working professionals, actually, as major chunk of the students are actually. So definitely, the best thing was to actually focus on only one subsection at a time, because as it is, we have less time to prepare. Okay.
Correct.
And even if then we like divide our concentration into five different places, we'll get stuck in all those five different places. Better to just stay focused in one place, finish it off, then move to the other, but also revising the previous part as well.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is a process that we followed, and that worked as wonders. So that's wonderful to hear. And then what happened in SCR? Because what I remember from my conversations from you is that you had a very logical framework already in your mind. Okay. And that is a major crux required for CR. So I pretty much knew that, okay, fine, CR would be like a clearing ball for you. Like it would be a home run for you. So what was your experience with the CR course?
After coming from sentence correction to CR, right, I think it was a big relief that
Yeah.
CR definitely medium application quizzes. I think I did it not pretty bad. I think I had 70-80% accuracy in the OG questions as well. But again, I struggle in the hard cementing quizzes, the
Mm-hmm.
hard application quizzes. I just wasn't able to get clear the threshold. The best
Mm-hmm.
part about e-GMAT is it tells you that for a hard quiz, what is the minimum percentage that you need to get, right? And
Yeah.
for some reason, I was not able to clear that percentage. And again, I think I went back to the basics. I wrote to you, and you provided me a lot of Harsha's recording, right? And again, Harsha is another amazing tutor, right? And I went through those videos and I just followed what Harsha said, the way you need to rethink the assumption. I think it's just the process. They teach you a process. It takes time to develop the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that something doesn't come to you naturally. It didn't come to
Right.
me naturally, at least. But after a period of time, it was just the magic of the process, and I was able to clear the CR section as well. I
Yes.
would say it took less effort to do CR compared to SC, because SC it took me at least a couple of months just to finish everything.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then naturally those skills just got transferred to RCS over there.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
so how was your experience with RC then?
RC, I did well. This was my strongest section amongst all the three. What I realized was that for certain areas, right, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing well. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say there are topics like philosophy, there are topics like science, the universe. I would see so many passages on black holes, and I had For me, I had no idea about black holes. So what I did was I realized that for passages on areas where I'm not comfortable, I'm not getting the questions correct.
Right.
And actually, you know what I did? I actually went to YouTube and saw a lot of videos on black holes, 5-10 minutes videos. But then,
Okay.
or let's say on philosophy, on feminism, these are topics which I haven't read much about in my previous years.
Hmm.
And now what happens, right? At least you don't need extra knowledge or knowledge beyond the scope of the passage to answer the RC questions, but at
Right.
least it made me more comfortable with the topic. So
Hmm.
anytime I come across an area where I was not very comfortable, I get the answers wrong, I'll just go to YouTube, read a bit. I love watching videos, so I would watch a few videos, and then next time when I read a passage, it would be more comfortable. It's not that the YouTube video gave me extra knowledge, but it definitely made the flow smooth.
Yeah. That's actually a great point to look at in that way, actually. That's how we actually differentiate between reading and comprehending. Okay.
Correct,
You were
correct,
able to read earlier, but you were not able to comprehend because they were not in your interest areas, as I may say.
correct.
Right. But when you got more like knowledge about those things from those videos, you were actually able to comprehend in a much more faster manner.
Yes, I think that was one mistake I did at the start, right? I would read three sentences, and even if I'm not
Uh-huh.
understood, I'd go and read the fourth and fifth sentence. But then I realized this is not the way. And then maybe towards the end of my preparation, right? If I read three sentences and I don't understand, I know there is no point going back to going to the fourth sentence. I again go back to the first sentence, reread the part again. I understand, and only then you go to the next part, because only if you understand the passage, then takes very less time to answer the questions.
Yes. No, I'll definitely try this technique with other students of mine as well. This would actually help them save their time in actually rereading the sentences again.
Yes, definitely. Because topics like black hole, I just could not visualize. And the moment I saw some of the videos, it became so easy.
No, that's a great way to look at it. So that's all about the verbal, and that we can actually see in your final score as well. All of this got translated into the 93rd percentile, and being one of the non-native speakers and still scoring above the 90th percentile in verbal, it's a big achievement. And as you can see from the percentile, only 7% of the test takers are able to actually achieve that kind of a score. So hats off to you for that. Now, for the quant, since you're from the engineering background and you had a background in quants as well, so it was far more easier for you actually for the quant. So how did you actually maintain your ability in the quant while you were doing all of this in verbal?
So, verbal, I think I put in, I struggled so much. I put in so many hours. I think I think sleepless nights is the term that I will use. I used to get only a few hours to sleep while I was doing my verbal. And then when
Mhm,
I came to quants, I think it was a smooth journey. I knew
mhm,
most of the stuff, and definitely hard cementing, definitely maybe I did struggle at times, but when
mhm,
compared to verbal, this was nothing. It was just about following the process here. I think the
mhm,
algorithm that you have, right, which tells you that I would attempt the diagnostic test first, and your algorithm would tell me that, okay, you can skip these chapters. I think
mhm.
that is where this helped me a lot, because verbal, I think I have done each and every video of e-GMAT at least 2-3 times. But
Right.
once that was not the case.
Yeah.
It was just more and more about practice. Geometry, I definitely needed to refresh a lot of things. I went through your entire course material, but otherwise, it was all about practicing more and more questions.
Mhm.
From the question bank that e-GMAT provides.
Yeah, so basically, you were actually referring to the PACE AI technology that we
Yes,
have in our quant courses, wherein you give a couple of diagnostic quizzes in the beginning of like every module, and on the basis of your results, it lets you know which topics are your stronger areas, and you can actually go ahead and skip them. Which topics are your weaker areas, and you should go through them.
absolutely.
And
Just
I'm
follow it.
glad you just didn't follow it blindly, because some piece of honesty is also needed, because the AI might not always know that you have guessed this question, or you are actually not aware, but you still got it correct. Okay, but you were still honest to your preparation. That's the greatest thing that you have done to the quant preparation.
Yes, I think I would revise each and every question,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective of whether I got it right or wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
would compare my method and the method which is there in the solution provided, right? And I would
Mm-hmm.
see that was there something that I get to learn new in the method, or maybe it helps me save time. I would revise each and every question for sure, in even though if I don't go through the theory.
Right. Perfect. So that was your preparation for your first attempt. So let our viewers know that what exactly happened in the first attempt. that what actually happened that actually made your verbal score drop to such a level, V28?
Okay. The first GMAT test, right, I took on August 26th, and it
Mm-hmm.
was at the test center. Um, so my strategy was to attempt quants first, which was my strong area, and then come to verbal, which was my weak area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, there are a lot of factors, obviously, but one factor which definitely stood out and did play a small part, at least, was the the marker pens that I got. The marker pens that I got, I was given two marker pens
Mm-hmm.
at the test center, and both the marker pens, I'm not used to writing with a marker pen. I've always been using a normal pen, and those marker pens just stopped writing. And when I asked the test administrator, he told me that you need to put the cap on every time. So I was not used to it. So basically, I don't read a question, put the cap on, and then open the cap and write the answer again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my pen stopped writing, and when I came to the quants, I managed because anyway it was my strong area. But verbal, when I came to that, I've always practiced verbal, writing the options first, A, B, C, D, E, and then I would eliminate the options by crossing it with my pen. Now, when the pen stopped writing, I had to remember that, you know what, option B, C, E, I have ruled out, and now I only need to check between A and D. I think
Mm-hmm.
that took some stress on me. That is one factor. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only
Mm-hmm.
factor, but obviously that could be one factor. And because it was not my strong area, I think the performance just went down, and I ended up with just a V28, which was even lower than my diagnostic test, which I started with when I first thought of writing the GMAT.
Yes. So as we can see, like just such a minute thing can also play a big part in your examination. Okay. Just the habit of writing with a similar kind of a marker and practicing with that during your preparation is also as important as doing the concepts and the quizzes itself.
Absolutely. I think for the second attempt, I think I didn't do well. I wrote to you, and I remember telling you that this is what happened. This did play a small role, and you told me that this was definitely it played a significant role. That's what you told me. And the next time I decided that I'm gonna write the GMAT at home. I'm
Mhm.
gonna get my own markers, and I immediately ordered the whiteboard.
Yeah.
So the online GMAT needs to be written on a whiteboard. There was a gap of around 20 days between GMAT 1 and GMAT 2, my two attempts. And
Mhm.
those 20 days, I have only and only practiced each and every question on the whiteboard using the same marker that I used for the GMAT. And I think that is why the second time this was not a factor at all.
Definitely, because once like you have been practicing from a long time, almost 4, 5 months in a particular manner, and now suddenly during the exam, someone asks you, okay, fine, change your approach. Now that plays a big part actually in giving, and that too in the verbal exam, which was not your strongest suit
Correct, correct,
at that
correct,
point of
correct.
time. So that's it. So apart from changing it from offline to online examination and practicing with the correct materials, okay, what else did you change in your approach from the first attempt to the second attempt? Or do you actually think that you were ready for the first attempt itself and you just need to brush up a little bit more for the second attempt?
I think I did brush up these 20 days, right? You provided me with a revision plan, and I just followed that revision plan for those 20 days, right?
Hmm.
Apart from following the revision plan, I brought in two changes in my strategy.
Okay.
The first one, I always wanted to attempt quants first, but in the GMAT that I took where I scored well,
Hmm.
I thought that from now on I'll be attempting verbal first. The
Hmm.
reason behind this is, and I read about it in a lot of forums as well as thought about it, that your weakest section should be the area which you should target first, considering that that is the time where your mind is
Yeah.
most fresh, right? So when your mind is most fresh, you better give it to a section which actually requires more concentration than a section where you're comfortable with. So
Yes.
second attempt on, I took the verbal first, and
Hmm.
that was the strategy. Also, I followed in the box during those 20 days. That's strategy number one. Strategy number two was when I gave sectional tests, right? I Timing was not a major factor, but in the actual mocks, time was always a played a role. So,
Hmm.
and then I realized that the reason was that I used to look up at the timer after every question,
Hmm.
and every time I see that I'm lagging a bit, I would read one or two questions very fast and
Hmm.
then make up the time for the third question, right? And then I'll say, oh, I have saved time. Now I'm okay. But what I didn't realize was in between, if you get three questions incorrect, right, the difficulty level now comes down, and then even if you get three questions correct later, uh, it is of not of much use. So now I decided that I'm not going to look at the timer every now and then. And those 20 days of preparation that I had, I didn't look at the timer. Every 10 question in verbal, only after 10 questions, I'll look at the timer. And even if I'm lagging by a few minutes, I would say it's okay, because even if I get the end two questions incorrect, that's fine, rather than getting questions incorrect in between. So these are two changes in strategy that I brought in. And I think that definitely played some role in getting my score from a V28 to a V41 within 20 days.
Perfect, perfect. So let's talk a little bit about the mocks, which you touched a little bit in over here. So what were your strategies for the mocks?
The strategy for the mocks would be that I just need to replicate whatever I've studied, right? Let's say in verbal. I know that verbal, I should never go with what sounds correct. And I just need to make sure that I follow the process. So it was all about following the process that I learned through the videos in e-GMAT, through the courses in e-GMAT, right? And trying to apply them. Once I gave the mock, I think I would spend almost 10 to 12 hours analyzing what went wrong in that particular mock. So if I give a mock from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning, then the entire afternoon, let's say from 2 p.m. onwards to midnight, I will just analyze what went wrong and what could have been done better. And the error log, right? I make my error log as exhaustive as possible, because I would go through the error log before every mock and ask myself, why did I get this wrong the last time? What can I do so not to get it wrong the next time? I think revising the error log and analyzing the mock for those long hours actually helped a lot, because I realized that I was not repeating the same kind of mistakes over and over again.
Right, right. No, that is some valuable strategy out there for the mocks, and I would ask the viewers to actually, if you want, you can maybe just rewatch it again or just try to apply these strategies in during your mocks as well, because this is something coming up from someone who has already succeeded in the GMAT exam, and these are valuable strategies. Okay, perfect. So now we'll introduce a new segment to this interview. Okay, that is a rapid fire segment wherein I'll be asking you a few questions. Okay, based on your GMAT journey. Okay, and you just need to reply it as quickly as possible, maybe in a word or maybe in a line, as you want. Okay, and so it will not take much of the time as well. So let's start with that.
Sure.
Okay, great. So the first question. If you could describe your GMAT preparation journey in one word, what would it be?
Hustle, which means work hard and smart, and with a deadline.
Okay. One thing you feel is absolutely essential for GMAT preparation.
Discipline and consistency. Undoubtedly, you need to be very disciplined in the entire process.
Well, that's great. One song that kept you motivated throughout the journey.
One song, Never Give Up.
Oh, that's great. Your go-to technique to relax your nerves after studying long hours.
I have a few very close friends, and I just pick up the phone and call them, right, and just tell them what went right, what went wrong. I think speaking to my friends is a great way for me to relax.
Perfect. If you had to suggest a title that sums up your GMAT journey, what would it be?
A journey of perseverance.
Wow, that's great. If you could rewind time and give your past self one piece of GMAT advice, what would that be?
Oh, I shouldn't be looking for shortcuts, because initially I just used to look for shortcuts, and I believe that why do you need to follow the process while a shortcut can give you an answer? So just don't look for shortcuts. Trust the magic of the process.
That's great. So that's all about it from the rapid fire segment, and it was really well done, Parikshit. And thank you so much for this. And I feel this is a great time to sign off on this note as well. And we, from the e-GMAT family side, we wish you all the very best for your next steps. I'm sure wherever you decide to go for your next MBA, okay, you will be excelling in that program for sure.
Thank you, August. Thank you so much. And this definitely would not have been possible without your help and the help of the entire e-GMAT team. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.